everyone, and welcome to the June 2025 edition of Archaeology News, a journey through time exploring the latest, exciting archaeological discoveries from around the world. Yes, that is correct. Archaeologists are making groundbreaking discoveries and rewriting history all the time. However, since your newsfeed might have decided not to show them to you, I have used my years of experience as an archaeologist to put together this video to provide you with well-sourced, interesting, and accurate news about real archaeology. No pseudoscience, clickbait, or AI here. Featured stories for this month include a 40,000-year-old mammoth tusk boomerang found in Poland, a sanctuary dedicated to the Greek mythical hero Odysseus on his home island of Ithaca, a spearhead inlaid with golden designs of phoenixes from the sacred island of Okinoshima in Japan, and an interview with Dr. José Bastante about the discovery of over 100 new structures at the Chachapoya site of Gran Pajatén in Peru. This video has been sponsored by Arkeogato Tours, a private and customizable tour company in Yucatan, Mexico, where your immersive experience is led by local bilingual archaeologist Zach Lindsay. This isn't your average big corporation ad. Zach is a small business trying to encourage locally led, authentic tours that take you beyond the usual tourist spots. Visitors have a chance to explore serene lagoons, remote villages, lesser-known archaeological sites, and hidden treasures like Valladolid and Bacalar, allowing you to connect with local culture in a way that you never imagined before. Zach is a Mayanist, iconographer, and art historian who I have interviewed about his studies and work in my Ask an Archaeologist series. You can watch that video here. If you're thinking of taking a trip to Mexico and want to learn more about its history in the near future, head to his website, which has a link in the description, and check out what he has to offer. And don't forget to take a few seconds to subscribe or like to help support this channel and tell the algorithm to promote it to new viewers. If you're feeling extra generous, you can make a Ko-fi donation, give a super thanks, or check out my Redbubble store for some archaeology merch, all designed by me. All right, everybody, let's dig in. We have 9 stories today in our top discovery segment, which are presented in chronological order, starting with those that go the farthest back in time. Our first story this month takes us to Poland, where the oldest known boomerang in Europe has been definitively identified in Owazowa Cave, the only known Upper Paleolithic archaeological site in this mountain basin region. While today the boomerang is commonly associated with Aboriginal culture in Australia, historical evidence suggests it was used widely across different continents. In North Africa, rock art from 8,500 to 4,000 years ago depicts hunters wielding them. Further evidence comes from ancient Egyptian tombs, where both wooden and ivory boomerangs have been found. Notably, 20 boomerangs were discovered in King Tutankhamun's tomb. This one was originally found during an excavation program in the cave that ran from 1985 to 1995. In the layer 8 strata, it was associated with a human left thumb bone, as well as decorative artifacts like shell pendants and bone beads, suggesting possible symbolic or ritual significance. Made of mammoth tusk and 72 centimeters long, it was designed as a non-returning boomerang, optimized for precision throws. Its large size and curvature demonstrate advanced craftsmanship skills during the late Pleistocene era. A wear pattern analysis determined that it was frequently used by a right-handed individual. When it was first found, contamination from modern adhesives or other conservation materials during restoration work meant that direct radiocarbon dating of the object was not possible. The initial results that came back had significant discrepancies. Now, a new study has used statistical modeling on associated animal bones and human remains from the same stratigraphic layer, layer 8, to date the artifact precisely. This was done to avoid retesting the boomerang and causing further damage to it. This new approach places the boomerang firmly within the Upper Paleolithic period between 42,290 and 39,280 years before present, with a 95.4% probability. The discovery of this ancient complex tool emphasizes the sophistication of Upper Paleolithic hunting tools and supports the idea that early modern humans in Europe developed symbolic expression and technological innovation independently of other regions like Australia or Egypt. The boomerang is also now one of the earliest examples of Upper Paleolithic technology and early Homo sapiens hunting tools. Next, we jump forward roughly 20,000 years and head, coincidentally, to the Blue Mountains west of Sydney, Australia. There, new scientific evidence from the cavernous Dargan Shelter Cave has revealed people lived inside it during the last ice age 20,000 years ago, when the surrounding environment was treeless, frozen, and, until now, believed to be too hostile for human habitation. This discovery was made by a team of archaeologists and Aboriginal custodians who have spent 6 years mapping rock shelters across the Greater Blue Mountains. Some sites are only known to a handful of Aboriginal people or intrepid bushwalkers. Others have only just been rediscovered. Dargan Shelter had long been a place of interest due to its location on a ridgeline connecting east to west, and in 2021, a permit to excavate it was granted. The team dug to a depth of 2.3 meters, unearthing 693 stone artifacts, including a 9,000-year-old anvil, probably used for cracking seeds and nuts, and a 13,000-year-old sandstone grinding slab, probably used to shape bone or wooden implements. Radiocarbon dating confirmed the oldest evidence of human habitation was around 20,000 years old, during the last glacial maximum. During this time, temperatures would have been at least 8.2 degrees cooler than today, with sparse vegetation and a tree line 400 meters below the site. Little firewood would have been available locally, and water sources would have been frozen through winter. The researchers think that the site might have been a stopping point for groups spending substantial time traveling along the Blue Mountain Range during the warmer seasons, either as a part of traveling to undertake ceremony or to access resources unavailable at lower elevations. Whatever the reason, this is now the first Australian site with definitive evidence for repeated occupation well above the tree line during the last ice age, and aligns Australia for the first time with global findings that icy climates did not prevent humans from traveling at high altitudes in ancient times. Our third discovery this month brings us to the multiple megalithic stone alignments and thousands of standing stones located in Carnac, France. Their origin and purpose has long been a mystery. Local tradition claims that the reason they stand in such perfectly straight lines is that they are a Roman legion turned to stone by Merlin. Yes, that one, that Merlin. Now, a new project has precisely dated parts of the complex at the site of Le Plasquer, where recent rescue excavations in advance of building a business park found a previously unknown, well-preserved, pre-megalithic monumental tomb, substantial cooking pits, and aligned foundation pits for standing stone alignments. 49 new radiocarbon dates were obtained from charcoal samples of various features, and analysis of the dates identified 6 main phases of human activity. 2 in the Mesolithic between 5700 and 5100 BCE, the construction of the tomb around 4700 BCE, and 3 phases of the erection of standing stones and the construction of hearths between 4600 and 4300 BCE. This new precise dating places the Le Plasquer alignments among the earliest megalithic monuments in Europe, alongside icons like Stonehenge and the megalithic temples of Malta. It also provides the first opportunity to fine-tune the chronology of some of the Carnac alignments and demonstrates that the creation of a cultural landscape like this probably did not happen all at once, but more likely in several stages over a protracted period of time. This opens up new perspectives for the understanding of the significance of the alignments and their construction. The next big question we have to answer then is, why did they do it? To mark territory, observe the stars, decorate their feasting grounds? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Our fourth story comes from the desert in Saudi Arabia, where a vast network of 10 walled oases dating back over 4,000 years has been identified. This was done through a combination of analysis of satellite imagery from Bing and Google Earth and supported by field visits. Located between the Jordanian border and the Persian Gulf, these fortified sites once housed thriving communities. Some walls stretch up to 8 kilometers and were up to 2 meters thick, incorporating defensive towers and entry gates. They enclosed and protected not only settlements, but also water sources, livestock, and crops, serving as a display of power as well as a means of protection that required substantial investments not only for their initial construction, but also for maintenance and modification. One standout site is Al Nata, a 2.6-hectare fortified town in the Khaybar Oasis. Dating back between 2400 and 1500 BCE, it likely housed up to 500 people. Multi-story homes, urban planning, and even a surrounding necropolis point to a gradual yet deliberate shift from mobile to permanent settlements. This discovery fundamentally alters the historical narrative of the Arabian Desert, showing that rather than being exclusively occupied by nomadic tribes, the region was also home to complex, sedentary societies capable of urban development and long-term planning. These fortified oases likely played a crucial role in the rise of early Arab caravan kingdoms, which would eventually become the Nabateans. I've also done a video on them. You can watch that after this one. Serving as a trade and cultural hubs across the peninsula. This discovery underscores the need for further archaeological exploration of this millennia-old phenomenon in the Northwest Arabia and other desert contexts. Next, we go to the northern part of the island of Ithaca in Greece. There, archaeological work at the site of Agios Athanasios, also known as the School of Homer, has uncovered evidence of a major Mycenaean age settlement dating to the 14th or 13th century BCE, the supposed era in which the mythological Ithacan hero king Odysseus lived. The settlement features a rare, intact underground cistern built out of corbelled monolithic blocks, and it was likely part of a network of 7 or 8 Mycenaean sites that formed the core of the island's Bronze Age urban landscape. Even more significant, however, was the discovery of tiles stamped with Odysseus's name, a miniature bronze bust of him, and multiple ritual artifacts, including 34 fragments of clay votives, loom weights, gold and bronze jewelry, and over 100 coins from various city-states. It is believed that these came from an Odyssean, a sanctuary dedicated to his hero cult worship, which was not only popular among local Ithacans during the Hellenistic and early Roman periods, but also for pilgrims from across the Mediterranean. The presence of the cult of Odysseus on Ithaca has never been in question, but this new evidence has pinpointed the practice's epicenter, offering a tantalizing glimpse into the physical roots of Homer's epic story. Whether you think Odysseus is a myth, a man, or both, a sanctuary in northwestern Ithaca offers a compelling evidence of his heroic cult and cultural importance across millennia. Now we head to northern Guatemala, where 3 new Mayan cities have been found deep in the Petén jungle. Named Los Abuelos, Petnal, and Cambrayal, the 3 cities are arranged in a triangle and separated by approximately 5 kilometers. Los Abuelos, which is Spanish for the grandparents, is named after 2 human-like sculptures of an ancestral couple found at the site. At the foot of the sculptures, a human burial was found, and a short distance away, the remains of 2 felines. The remains of offerings were also found, including vessels, shells, and arrowheads, and an upright stele. The site also contains a type of architectural complex that has been identified as an astronomical observatory, as the layout of its buildings allows for precise recording of the solstices and equinoxes. This city was heavily occupied during the Middle Preclassic and Late Preclassic periods from around 800 BCE to 100 CE. It was subsequently abandoned, but then inhabited again during the Late Classic, reaffirming its importance as an important ceremonial center. Nearby, the city of Petnal, in contrast, was more likely a political center, as it contains a 33-meter high pyramid. At its summit, there is a well-preserved room, which displays remains of mural painting on stucco in shades of red, white, and black. Zoomorphic altars in the shape of frogs were found in both this city and Los Abuelos. The third city, Cambriol, is distinguished by its innovative engineering. It contains a unique network of canals 57 meters long. These originate in a water reservoir located at the top of a palace and extend into the surrounding area through the facade. The stucco-lined canals do not appear to have been used to transport water, but rather waste, functioning as a drainage system. Furthermore, a pot-bellied sculpture was discovered at the site, a form common in several settlements along the south coast. All three cities followed a similar pattern of occupation. They were inhabited for much of the pre-classic period, then abandoned, and centuries later rediscovered, rebuilt, and repopulated during the late classic. The set of these three sites forms a previously unknown urban triangle, allowing us to rewrite our understanding of the ceremonial and socio-political organization of pre-Hispanic Pajatén. Our sixth discovery this month takes us to the San Martin region of Peru and the site of Gran Pajatén, which is one of the most enigmatic and architecturally significant archaeological remnants of the Chachapoya civilization. The Chachapoya are most famous in pop culture for their heavily fictionalized, as in almost entirely made up except for their name, golden idol artifact and temple featured in the opening sequence of Raiders of the Lost Ark. You can learn more about this in my review of the film, which you can also watch over this video. Wow, that list is getting pretty long. Maybe you should just subscribe so that you can remember to come back later and watch all this stuff. In real life, the Chachapoya were a pre-Columbian culture that lived in the remote northern highlands of Peru. We don't know yet how they refer to themselves, and their history has largely been reconstructed from accounts of the Inca and Spanish, as well as from archaeological evidence from their handful of remote, hard-to-access sites. Now, new archaeological and conservation work by a team from the World Monuments Fund at Gran Pajatén has made major discoveries that could potentially rewrite the history of the Chachapoya. And here to tell us all about it is the project's director, Dr. José Bastante. Let's dig into the interview. Welcome to the channel, José. It's a pleasure to have you here. Can you please introduce yourself to my audience? How did you become involved in this project and what is your role?
My pleasure to be in this interview. Thank you in the name of War Monument Fund. I'm the director of projects of War Monument Fund in Peru.
And how did you guys become involved in this project with the Chachapoya?
The Chachapoya has been always in our target. It's an exceptional civilization that developed between the 7th and 16th centuries in the northeastern Andes of Peru.
I've seen reference to them being known as the Warriors of the Clouds as a nickname. Can you explain to us a bit more about why that is?
Yes, the name Chachapoya is believed to come from the Quechua word sacha, that means tree or forest, and puyu, that means cloud. So it will translate basically as people of the cloud forest.
Can you give us a brief background of the site that you guys have recently been working on and made some discoveries at?
So we have been working in the Rio Aviseo National Park that is now inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List as a mixed heritage. So that's very important. Gran Pajatén is the most iconic Chachapoya monument within this area. It sits around 2,800 meters above sea level on a natural terrace, roughly 300 meters from above the sea level. And the site was firstly reported in the 60s by settlers that came from Patas during a land exploration. Those news arrived or reached then President Belaunde, who ordered an official expedition that was led by a very famous architect here, Victor Pimentel, between 1965 and 1966. But at that time, they could only document 18 structures, and the true scale of the site remained unknown.
And so now you and your team have decided to revisit the site. Why was that?
So after these initial explorations in the 60s, a second group of researchers arrived to Gran Pajatén. This was Lennon, Cornejo, and Church. and they carry out some archaeological but limited excavations in two of these structures. They also found other structures. So we went from 18 to 26. And at this time, they did also some radiocarbon dating and suggesting that the site, the Chachapoya occupation of the site was around the 14th century. We're going to do more radiocarbon dating with MAS, so we will get a more detailed, absolute chronology of the occupation of the site and their different constructive moments. Because of its significance, Gran Pajatén was included in our list of World Monuments Watch. That was back in 2014. After that, in 2017, there was an assessment regarding conservation of the site, and it was the first time when LiDAR technology was used in the area. That information that was gained from those surveys was extremely valuable and became the foundation for launching our research and conservation project.
And so on the back of that, what have you guys now discovered?
Okay, so the project basically focused on archaeological exploration, documentation, conservation, typical archaeological work, right? Not only in Pajatén, but in a big area of the national park. One of the most important or significant findings was the identification of an interconnected system of ancient roads that are linking key sites on the area. Río Colorado, La Playa, Papayas, Los Pinchudos, and of course, Gran Pajatén. We did some excavations at Structure 1, one of the main buildings of the complex that features a richly decorated base with anthropomorphic mosaics that show human figures. These are possibly mythological or ceremonial figures. We also found evidence of a pre-Chachapoya occupation, and this indicates that the site was sacred or had a sacred significance since before the Chachapoyas. We also use advanced technologies like topographic scanning, photogrammetry, 3D modeling of the structures that we documented. And of course, these models are crucial for the future conservation work. We have also used LiDAR, and it has been instrumental in allowing us to analyze the landscape on a large scale, well beyond the limits of just Pajatén area. This broader perspective has helped us to get a better understanding of the communication networks, the organization of the territory, and the symbolic construction of the Chachapoya cultural landscape.
Has all this new material that you found, is it something that you were expecting, or was it a surprise to you and your team?
Well, we were certainly surprised by the extent and the complexity of what we found. The main road retains the stone paving and the retaining walls, and it's associated with ceremonial platforms, these circular buildings that are the basic unit of Chachapoya architecture, and also some funerary areas. This highlights the central role of Pajatén in the region as a social, ritual, and economic center. We also discovered that this road system connects to other major routes that allow this trade with other civilizations. Both the architectural features and the materials that we recovered confirm the existence of these extensive exchange networks. It's important to notice that thanks to a combined approach using the traditional survey, photogrammetry, and the LiDAR, we have now identified over 100 structures at Gran Pajatén. Remember, I told you there were first 18, then 26. Now we have 103, basically. And we have also used a thermomorphological approach that was developed in collaboration with the UNESCO chair of the University of Genova. And that has allowed us to model structures and understand how they relate to the territory. In general, this gives us an entirely new framework for studying these road networks and the hierarchies of the sectors and in the territorial planning of the Chachapoyas in Rio Iseo.
So you've massively expanded not only your knowledge of the site, but potentially the knowledge of what you know about themselves and also like the regional networks and everything that's going on.
Yes.
Wow, that's great. What is planned next? Will there be more excavations, conservation work, I think you mentioned, publications, etc.?
We will continue with analyzing the LiDAR scan. We have 3 LiDAR scans that have been made through the years. The last one that we did last year. We are merging these point clouds into a single one that will become this comprehensive data set. And we will obtain a much more detailed reading of the territory. So far, we have just worked on 20% of the data. We have already sent samples to the Arkeobio laboratory here in Peru for analysis of micro remains, pollen, and material composition, and charcoal samples to the laboratory of the University of Poznan to establish the absolute chronology of the site and its construction phases, like I mentioned before.
So lots to come from this project. Hopefully, I'll be able to interview again once you've finished the rest of the data and you'll have even more to tell me. That'll be very exciting.
Yes, well, Odysseus is a very complicated area to work in, and it's not easy to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we will keep on studying and conserving Gran Pajatén. And this means really protecting the history, the life, and the shared memory of the peoples that inhabited this land and those who safeguard it today. It's also a reminder of the role that each of us has in building a sustainable future, one that honors not only the culture, but the culture as a driving force for development and generating harmony between development, progress, and the protection and preservation of our natural and cultural heritage.
Yeah, very well put. And yeah, I very much agree with you. That's all my questions that I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you agreeing to come onto the channel, and I look forward to seeing what you guys have to continue discovering.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
What a fascinating and exciting discovery. I look forward to seeing what the rest of the team's data will reveal in future. Our penultimate discovery this month comes from the Kingdom of Jordan, a place close to my archaeological heart since I spent 3 summers digging there, where archaeologists working in the south have rediscovered the lost Byzantine city of Thuray. The city appears on the famous Madaba mosaic map from the 6th century CE, but the city's exact location has been debated for over a century. From 2021 to 2024, a team has been conducting archaeological surveys and historical analysis to try and find it. The turning point came during a field survey in the rugged landscape of western Carnac near the southeastern edge of the Dead Sea. A gradual increase in Byzantine-era pottery sherds and archaeological debris provided compelling evidence of continuous settlement from the Roman through Islamic periods. Artifacts included fragments of mosaic floors, glassware, and various tools, but most notably, architectural features resembling a Byzantine basilica church. The remnants of a gateway, columns, mosaic flooring, and industrial installations such as an olive press, water mills, and grape crushing equipment all pointed to a vibrant, self-sustaining community with both religious and economic significance. Greek and Latin funerary inscriptions dating from the 5th to 7th century CE confirmed the existence of a Christian community, aligning well with the site's suspected identity. The decorative elements of triglyphs and mosaic tiles suggest a fusion of local and classical architectural styles, and a distinct rectangular stone doorway and threshold stones are geometrically consistent with entrances found in other Byzantine churches. What makes this discovery particularly striking is how closely the features of the site match its representation in the Mataba map. The spatial arrangement of ruins, gate-like structures, and even the presence of towers near the entrance align with the map's depiction of Thuray. The rediscovery of this city comes at a time when the region is experiencing rapid urbanization. Archaeologists caution that unless preservation efforts are implemented, crucial layers of historical evidence may be lost. The site's inclusion in ongoing epigraphic and archaeological surveys in southern Jordan is expected to bring more clarity about its role and evolution through time. It's hoped that further digs may reveal deeper insights into the daily lives, trade patterns, and religious rituals of its ancient inhabitants. Our last discovery this month is from Okinoshima Island in Japan, where an ornately decorated iron spear from the late Kofun period, discovered in 1954, has recently been scanned with high-resolution CT and X-ray fluorescence technology. From the 4th to 9th century CE, Okinoshima served as a central ritual site for the Yamato polity, Japan's early imperial state, which performed elaborate ceremonies to pray for safe maritime voyages, particularly those involving diplomatic and trade missions to the Korean peninsula. Offerings, known as honohin, were dedicated to the sea deities believed to protect these journeys. These rituals left behind a vast archaeological legacy. Over 80,000 artifacts, including bronze mirrors, swords, glass beads, and now this ornate spear. The island has been off limits to the general public for centuries. Even today, women are not allowed there, and male visitors must undergo ritual purification before setting foot on its shores. The spear was found under a boulder and sealed inside a gilt bronze sheath. It is 30.5 centimeters long, made of iron, and has a triangular tip. It is thought to have been made between the late 6th and early 7th centuries. It is completely inlaid with gold, and the embedded patterns, which feature phoenixes, are believed to represent an appeal for celestial favor. The kintsugan technique is also used here, involving carving intricate designs into metal and embedding gold wire or foil into the grooves. Experts suggest that the combination of gold inlay and arabesque patterns may indicate influences from continental Asia, possibly via the Korean peninsula, while the construction remains distinctly Japanese. The structure of the spear is of little practical use, and it's thought to have been made as a votive object, specifically to be offered at rituals on Okinoshima. This latest discovery not only enhances our understanding of Kofun period craftsmanship, but also reaffirms the sacred island's role as a spiritual epicenter of early Japanese statehood. That's it for our top discoveries. Which one was your favorite? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this segment, don't forget to like the video. Now we're going to move on to current news and events. First up is the story that 6,658 boxes from the Museum of Gloucester's collection are being unpacked, sorted, relabeled, and repacked at the city's Discovery Center in Eastgate Shopping Center as a part of a project to make archaeology accessible to the public. Some of the boxes haven't been opened for 50 or 60 years. People can drop into the shopping center to witness the unboxing and offer a helping hand themselves. The project aims to change the public's perception of archaeology, namely the idea that all these artifacts are delicate and precious and no one can touch them without proper gloves on. Anglo-Saxon leather and a Roman tile with the print of a dog were among the items which have been rediscovered so far. This is a year-long project, so if you're in the area, be sure to drop in and take the chance to handle some ancient artifacts. Next up, the government of Peru at first announced and then abandoned a plan to reduce the size of a protected area around the country's ancient Nazca Lines from around 5,600 square kilometers to roughly 3,200 square kilometers. The area excluded from the protected archaeological zone was overlapped by around 300 concessions owned by miners on a controversial registry of informal miners purportedly in the process of formalizing their operations. This registry has allowed illegal mining to continue with impunity and without state oversight. And it was claimed that this showed the government favored mining over environmental and archaeological protection. Critics of the proposed change said it would weaken decades of environmental protection and open up the Nazca Archaeological Reserve to informal and illegal mining, just as international gold prices peak. The fury over these plans has now effectively forced the government to abandon it and instead put together a technical panel of government representatives, archaeologists, academics, and members of international organizations, including UNESCO, to build consensus on a future proposal for zoning and land use in the area. Our last story comes from Syria, where there has been a huge surge in antiquities looting and smuggling since the collapse of the Assad regime. Major sites like Palmyra, which has already suffered heavy damage under the Islamic State, are being looted at a scale unprecedented in modern day, driven by a collapse in security and widespread poverty. Much of the looting is being carried out by individuals desperate for cash, hoping to find ancient coins or antiquities that they can sell quickly. In Damascus, shops selling metal detectors have skyrocketed. Once out of the ground, the antiquities make their way online. Facebook has emerged as a key hub for the sale of stolen antiquities, with some looters streaming Facebook Live from archaeological sites, asking users for advice where they should dig next and drumming up excitement from potential buyers who tune in, which is like mind-boggling that they are able to literally live stream themselves committing a crime and not really suffer consequences. Like, that's insane. In 2020, Facebook banned the sale of historical antiquities on its platform and said it would remove any related content. However, I'm sure no one's surprised that it seems that the policy is rarely enforced, despite continued sales on the platform being well documented. With 90% of Syria's population living in poverty, stopping desperate individuals from looting is a gargantuan task. Syria's new government has urged looters to stop offering finder's fees to those who turn in antiquities rather than sell them, and threatening offenders with up to 15 years in prison. But they're pretty preoccupied with rebuilding a shattered country, and Damascus has few resources to protect its archaeological heritage at the moment. Instead, experts have said that the responsibility for regulation should fall on the West, which is the primary buyer of the Middle East cultural antiquities. I want to emphasize that looting irrevocably damages an archaeological site and removes discoveries and knowledge that could have belonged and been shared with us all. If you are someone that cares about protecting heritage, I shouldn't have to say this, but don't buy looted antiquities. And if you see ads for them, please report them to whatever platform you see them on. Also, stop sending me DMs or posting comments asking me to identify artifacts for you. If you find something that you think has archaeological value, report it to your local authority, because chances are, if it is valuable, you'll get a reward, and if it's not valuable, you probably still get to keep it, and then you don't have to feel guilty about it. All right, everyone, time to pack up our finds and hang up our shovels. That's everything for the June 2025 edition of Archaeology News. Did you like this video? Which story was your favorite? Is there anything important that I missed? Don't forget to comment, like the video, or subscribe to the channel before you leave. If you're feeling extra generous, you can give me a super thanks or go to my Ko-fi page and support me with a small donation. If you're looking for a more tangible return, then my eternal gratitude. Have a look at my Redbubble shop and get a sticker, t-shirt, hat, or mug with your favorite slogan that I have designed. Taking a few seconds to support me in any way you can helps me grow the channel and promotes quality heritage content that is well sourced, researched, and presented by somebody who is experienced in this subject. It shows the algorithm that people are interested in real archaeology. Thank you so much for watching. Stay curious, and I hope to see you on my next adventure inside archaeology.